10 News begins with breaking news.
With a wall of smoke behind it, a helicopter performs a drop on a brush fire burning in the East County. This was just before 4 o'clock this afternoon when the fire was spreading fast.
CAL FIRE says the fire's forward rate has stopped. Right now, it is burning 150 acres. There's no word on containment. It is threatening homes, and some people are being told to evacuate. Now, this is where we're talking about. It started southwest of Sycuan Casino and Resort and then moved east. The casino is not threatened. Our
10 News reporter Matt Boone has been tracking the efforts to contain that fire. He joins us now live. Matt.
Well, a lot of progress has been made, but you can still see a hot spot behind me. This is on the eastern side of the fire. Smoke still rising from this ridge, and actually some of these flames made it past this pink line of fire retardant, so that's definitely concerning to firefighters. They've been doing aerial drops, and there's actually a helicopter coming this way right now, likely targeting this hot spot as we speak, trying to drop some water. Yeah, there it goes right now. That's definitely concerning that it's been able to go past the retardant that was laid down trying to contain this fire. But a lot of progress has been made in the past hour. Earlier, we could still see hot spots dotting the edge of the fire. Lots of drops were being made. The fire appeared to have started somewhere in this area of Sloan Canyon and then pushed its way northeast with this mild wind up and over the ridge towards the Sycuan Casino. Firefighters were able to basically stop it from getting anywhere close, but as you can see, there's definitely still a little bit of action on the edges here. But most of this area has really just burnt itself out, and now firefighters are just trying to contain these small hot spots on the edges of the fire with the aerial drops coming in, because as you can tell, the terrain is pretty rugged, very difficult. There are some firefighters who have been hiking up, but some of these peaks are very difficult to access with any sort of hoses or people on the ground, so they're just continuing to rely on these aerial drops. Reporting in Dehesa, Matt Boone, 10 News.
Now, that wind gave firefighters a challenge in stopping the fire spread.
And we want to turn to our meteorologist, Angelica Campos, who is tracking the conditions out there. Those winds can play a big part, too.
Yeah, big part. The temperatures have been a big part. The humidity is very low. So we have the triple threat, basically. And you can only imagine they are carrying all their gear, firefighters hiking with up to 60 pounds. It's just very challenging. 81 degrees at this hour. The wind flow mostly out of the west, but thankfully the winds are starting to go down. Now you can see the fire threat is elevated today because of a weak Santa Ana wind event. We have low relative humidity in our mountains and also in our inland communities. Mount Laguna taking the lead here, 5% humidity and 4% in Ocotillo Wells. The winds in this area could still range between 15 to up to 20 miles per hour, but thankfully the winds will continue to die down into the evening. Tomorrow, a chance for thunderstorms. We'll talk more about that in a few.
Angelica, thank you. And you can keep track of the weather conditions and the firefight on the free 10 News mobile app. To download it, just go to the App Store and search 10 News. Also tonight, there are thousands of people who work for the city of San Diego, each one vulnerable to any number of cyber attacks.
How prevalent do you think these attempts are?
I would characterize them as relentless.
In an effort to protect its employees and itself from a hack, the city may take an unusual step.
10 News reporter John Horn explains why the city may refuse a request to release information as simple as employees' email addresses.
The city of San Diego employs more than 11,000 people, and their names and their work phone numbers and email addresses are public information. But this memo appears to be laying the groundwork for keeping a directory of the employees under wraps. It's a potentially unorthodox move, but a sign of the times. Public agencies are constantly having to defend themselves against cyber attacks.
The less information that you can give an attacker, the better.
The Union Tribune recently made a Public Records Act request for names, work emails, and phone numbers of all city employees, which is disclosable. That alarmed city officials, who enlisted City Attorney Mara Elliott's office to weigh in. A new memo from Elliott's office reveals officials fear releasing the information could, quote, make it substantially easier for bad actors to launch phishing attacks against the city.
It's an attack method where when the victim either clicks a link or downloads an attachment, that automatically installs some sort of malware or directs that particular victim to a malicious website. and then all kinds of bad things can happen from there.
Last year, hackers shut down some operations at the Port of San Diego, and the city of Atlanta has spent millions to recover a system after a $50,000 ransomware attack. The city attorney memo says existing case law suggests circumstances where not disclosing the list of workers outweighs the public interest in disclosing them, but leaves it up to the city. John Horn, 10 News.
Union Tribune publisher Jeff Light says he understands the cybersecurity concern, but said in a statement, the conduct of the people's business is a fundamental and necessary right of every person in this state. I don't see how that principle squares with this theory that the government should not reveal the phone extension or email of a city employee. And in just the last hour, the UT reported that the city has denied its request.
Also tonight, Nancy Pelosi and House Democrats are officially moving forward with an impeachment inquiry into President Trump. Now, this follows reports of the president's controversial July 25th call with Ukraine's president, in which he encouraged the country's president to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden. The Washington Post reports days before that call, President Trump ordered $400 million in military and aid withheld from Ukraine. President Trump confirmed he did withhold funds, but says it was because Europe was not contributing enough. He also says he's authorized the release of unredacted transcripts from his call with the Ukrainian president.
It didn't take long for a water main break to open a sinkhole and swallow a car in Escondido this morning. And it could be a couple more hours before it's fixed and the street reopened. 10 News anchor Vanessa Van Hefty explains what led to the break in the first place.
Crews have been out here since 3:30 this morning. You can see here a lot of damage caused by that break. A car just happened to be parked right on top.
But that was my first car, and it breaks my heart.
Lindsay Cervantes opened her front door to see her car being swallowed into the earth.
I stayed outside, and with time, the car was going up, going up, going up. The front was sinking down, and like now it's just destroyed.
A 12-inch pipe burst, leaving 26 homes in the area with no water, flooding 4 homes.
You don't expect to wake up and have to walk around and has like a good 2 feet of water throughout the house. My kids can't go to school. Their backpacks got wet, their shoes got wet, they can't go to school.
Chris McKinney with the city of Escondido says it was an old pipe that simply gave out.
No, it's not an everyday sight. It's certainly a striking image. The seam along the bottom edge of the pipe ruptured. So it wasn't a complete failure of the pipe. It was just the seam where when the pipe was constructed, that seam gave way and started sheeting water out, pointed downward, and that just undermined all the earth underneath.
But frustrated neighbors say this isn't the first time going through this.
So where they have right now the green pump is where the new asphalt is from last year's sinkhole.
Neighbors will now file claims with the city. They hope that this street is cleaned up and reopened by 8 o'clock tonight. In Escondido, Vanessa Van Hefty, 10 News.
Imperial Beach city leaders are defending the decision to ban people from sleeping on their streets. Our news partners at KPBS report the city says it's an effort to clean up the neighborhood. Advocates don't see it that way, saying they believe the city just doesn't want homeless people, which the city manager says is just not true.
We need a regional approach to this issue, and Imperial Beach needs to be a good partner in that. And this isn't being a good partner.
We don't have a lot of homeless here, but we don't chase them off. We don't give them a bus ticket. We don't just try to chase them out of town. We do try to find them shelter.
The city has previously banned people from sleeping in public parks and beaches. It says it won't use this ordinance to crack down on homelessness.
Senator Elizabeth Warren will make her first presidential campaign stop in San Diego next week. Warren is hosting a town hall at Waterfront Park downtown next Thursday. People can RSVP for the event on her campaign website. The event starts at 7, doors open at 5. Recent polls show Warren gaining momentum, either leading the pack or coming in neck and neck with the other frontrunner, former Vice President Joe Biden.
Tomorrow marks 41 years since PSA Flight 182 went down in North Park. The Memorial Committee cleared the site today for a ceremony honoring the 144 killed. PSA 182 crashed after colliding with a Cessna on September the 25th, 1978. It is considered one of the worst airline disasters in U.S. history. Tomorrow morning, a memorial will celebrate the lives of those that were killed as well as first responders. It begins at 8:45 at the corner of Dwight and Nile in North Park.
Police want your help identifying the man in this surveillance video. He's wanted for a series of car burglaries in Mission Valley. Now, the suspected burglar was last seen early Monday morning. Happened in a parking garage on Camino de la Reina. Police say he used a flashlight to look into the vehicles before shattering the windows and stealing items inside. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers.